Jordan stepped off the old village bus, with nothing but a small bag and tired eyes. The heat hit him hard, but it was nothing compared to the weight in his chest. He hadn't been home in 10 years. But one phone call had changed everything. His cousin's voice was still fresh in his mind. "They've taken your father's land. Uncle Clarence sold it." As he walked through the village, people looked at him from their doors and windows. Some whispered, some turned away. He didn't stop. He didn't speak. He just kept walking to his father's compound. Music was playing inside. Loud laughter. The sound of glasses clinking. It sounded like a party. He pushed the gate open. Inside, the celebration stopped for a moment as people turned to see him. In the middle of the crowd stood Clarence, his father's younger brother. He wore sunglasses, held a drink in his hand, and had a big smile on his face. A smile that made Jordan's blood boil. Clarence walked up with fake joy. "Jordan! Long time! You're just in time to celebrate with us." Jordan didn't smile. "What did you do?" Clarence blinked. "What are you talking about?" Jordan stepped closer. "You sold my father's land, without asking anyone, without telling me." The music stopped. The laughter faded. Clarence's voice changed. "Your father is gone. There was no will. The land had to be used. I handled it." Jordan clenched his fists. "The land wasn't yours to sell." Clarence's smile disappeared. "I stayed here, Jordan. You left. I took care of things. That land was mine too." Jordan stared at him. "Where's the deed?" Clarence looked him in the eyes and said one word. "Gone." It felt like the ground shifted under Jordan's feet. The land that had been in his family for generations. Gone. Just like that. The elders and other villagers in the room stayed silent. Some looked away. Others looked uncomfortable. But no one said a word. Jordan turned and walked out of the house. His heart felt like it was on fire. Outside he stopped. His father had always said, "That land is our name." Now it was gone. And no one had fought for it. He took out his phone and called a number. A woman's voice answered. "Hello?" "It's me," Jordan said. "I'm back. Clarence sold the land." The voice on the other end replied, "Come see me. Tonight." Jordan looked back at the house, still filled with soft music and fake smiles. He whispered to himself, "This isn't over." Jordan was the only child of Samuel Carter, a quiet man who spent most of his life working on the land. That land had been in their family for generations. To Samuel, it was more than just soil. It was everything, his history, his work, and his gift to the future. From a young age, Jordan followed him to the fields, learning how to plant crops, water them, and watch them grow. His father often said, "This land will feed you, even when I'm gone." But things changed when Jordan turned 16. His mother died suddenly. After that, his father stopped smiling. He barely spoke. He just worked. Jordan didn't know how to deal with the silence, with the sadness. He started dreaming of leaving the village, of escaping to somewhere he didn't feel so trapped. He studied hard and got a scholarship to a university in the city. It was the break he had been hoping for. He promised his father he would come back after school, but once he left, he didn't return. He found a job, then another, and slowly started a new life. He sent money home, but the calls became fewer. His father never complained. "I'm okay," he would say. That was all. In the city, Jordan met Amira. She worked at a local school and volunteered on weekends. She was kind, honest, and saw the good in people. They became close, like family. She was the first person who really made him feel safe since his mother passed. When his father died 2 years ago, Amira went with him to the funeral. Jordan only stayed for a couple of days. He didn't ask about the land. He didn't want to think about it. Deep down, he felt guilty for staying away so long. That land was his father's whole life, and now it was gone. Clarence, his uncle, had sold it. Clarence had always lived on the family land, even after Jordan and his father left the village. He was Samuel's younger brother, always charming and full of big promises. But Jordan remembered how his father used to say, "Be careful with Clarence. He talks smooth, but he watches out for himself." Clarence never married. He had no kids. People in the village used to say he loved money more than blood. Maybe they were right. While Samuel worked the fields, Clarence was busy making friends with village leaders, always showing up at meetings, always speaking for the family, even when he wasn't asked. Now Jordan stood in the village again, but not as a boy. This time, he had questions. He went to Amira's house. She opened the door, hugged him tightly, and looked into his tired eyes. "I heard," she said. "Come in." Inside, Jordan sat at her table, drinking warm tea as he told her everything. What Clarence had done, how the elders said nothing, how the land was sold without warning. Amira listened. When he was done, she said, "You have to speak. This is not just about land. It's about what's right." "But what can I do?" Jordan asked. "There's no will, no proof. There's always something," she said. "People respected your father. They haven't forgotten him." Jordan sighed. "Clarence has money now. He controls everything here, even the silence." "Then break it," Amira said. "Start with the truth." Jordan leaned back in his chair. He remembered how he used to sit there years ago, when Amira's mother would cook for them both. It felt like home then, safe. He wasn't sure it still was. That night, he couldn't sleep. He sat on the wooden steps outside the small house his father built. The stars were clear, just like when he was a boy. He remembered the sound of his mother's laughter, the smell of rain on dry soil, and his father's voice telling him to always protect the land. He walked around the compound slowly, noticing the cracks in the walls, the way weeds had grown near the edges. It looked tired, just like the memory of the man who built it. In the morning, Jordan would go to the elders. He would ask for a meeting. He didn't know if they would listen. He didn't know if he could get the land back, but he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't let his father be erased. This wasn't just about property. It was about memory, respect, a voice that was stolen, and Jordan was ready to speak. Jordan woke early. He hadn't slept much, but his mind was clear. The anger was still there, but now it sat beside a sense of duty. He dressed simply and walked straight to the local records office. The building was small and quiet. The clerk behind the counter, an old man with grey hair and tired eyes, looked up slowly when Jordan walked in. "I want to see the land documents," Jordan said. "The ones for my father's land." The man hesitated. "Are you talking about the land Clarence Carter just sold?" "Yes," Jordan said. "That land belonged to my father, Samuel Carter." The clerk shifted in his seat. "That land has already been processed. It's gone." "I know," Jordan said. "I want to see how." The man sighed and walked into the back room. After a few minutes, he returned with a thin folder. Jordan opened it slowly. Inside were copies of the land transfer documents. The seller's signature was clear, Clarence Carter. But something looked off. Jordan stared hard at the signature. "This isn't my father's writing." The clerk looked nervous. "Your father's name isn't on those forms." "There's no will here either," Jordan said. "And no family consent. Just Clarence." "That's enough for them now," the man said quietly, "especially with the elders backing him." Jordan's eyes narrowed. "Did Clarence bribe anyone here?" The clerk didn't answer. He just lowered his gaze. Jordan left with copies of the documents in his hand and a storm inside his chest. On the way back, he passed by the field. The land was already cleared. Big machines stood where cassava once grew. A tall fence had been put up. A bright red sign read, "Future Site, Luxury Villas." It felt like a slap. Later that afternoon, Jordan returned to the family compound. Some relatives were gathered there. Clarence was sitting in the yard, smiling and drinking something cold. Jordan walked straight up to him and dropped the file on the table. "You forged these papers." Clarence laughed. "Forged? That's a strong word. You didn't have my father's permission. You didn't have mine." Clarence shrugged. "Your father's dead. There was no will. I handled what needed to be done." "You mean you handled what helped you?" Jordan said. "You stole from your own brother." Clarence stood up now. "Watch your mouth, boy. I've lived here all my life. You left. You gave up your right to anything the moment you walked away." "I was 16. Jordan snapped. "You promised to take care of him. Instead, you waited for him to die so you could sell everything." The room fell quiet. Even the cousins who had been laughing earlier now looked serious. One of them, Marlon, spoke up. "Is this true, Uncle Clarence?" Clarence waved his hand. "Don't listen to him. He's bitter because he's too late." Jordan stepped forward. "This isn't over. I'm calling for a village meeting. I want the elders there. I want everyone to hear what you did." Clarence's eyes darkened. "You're playing with fire, Jordan. You're not a child anymore. You can get hurt." Jordan didn't flinch. "Then burn me." With that, he walked away. The family watched him go, silent. The next day, a notice was placed in the village square. A meeting would be held to discuss a dispute over land ownership between Jordan Carter and Clarence Carter. All elders, family members, and concerned villagers were invited. Word spread fast. Some people whispered that Jordan was brave. Others said he was foolish. But everyone agreed on one thing. This meeting was going to be explosive. And for Jordan, there was no turning back now. The day of the village meeting came. By late afternoon, the town hall was full. The elders sat in front, dressed in white robes. Villagers filled every seat and even stood along the walls. People came not just for the land issue, but because they knew the Carters had a long, complicated family history. Everyone wanted to hear the truth. Everyone wanted drama. Jordan stood alone near the front. He wore a plain shirt and jeans, his face calm, but his hands shaking a little. Clarence came in with confidence, wearing a fine blue outfit. He smiled and greeted some elders like old friends. A few people clapped when he walked by. He gave Jordan a quick glance but said nothing. An elder named Baba Nuru stood. "We are here to listen to both sides. This is a family matter, but the land is also part of the community. We want peace, but we also want the truth." Clarence was asked to speak first. He stood up slowly and adjusted his collar. "My brother Samuel was a good man," he began. "He worked hard, but when he got sick, I was the one who took care of the land. Jordan was gone, living in the city. Never came back, never sent money. I was here. I farmed. I paid the taxes. So when the time came, I sold the land. I did what was best." Some people nodded. Others looked unsure. Then Jordan was told to speak. He took a deep breath. "My father didn't leave a will, but he never gave anyone permission to sell that land. It was passed down from our grandfather. It was meant for the next generation." He held up the copied papers. "This signature isn't his. It's fake." And Clarence knew that. He used his connections to make the sale legal on paper, but not in truth. Murmurs spread through the crowd. One elder asked, "Do you have proof the signature was forged?" Jordan opened the folder and showed another document. "This is my dad's old signature from a bank form. Look at the handwriting. Look at the one on the land paper. They don't match." The elders took the papers and passed them around. Clarence stood again. "Of course the signature looks different. He was sick. His hands were weak." "Then why didn't you record a video of him signing?" Jordan shot back. "Why no witnesses? Not even one person who saw him agree to the sale." Clarence's face tightened. "I don't have to answer that." Baba Nuru raised a hand. "Please, let him finish." Jordan looked around the room. "I left home because my father wanted me to get an education. I worked, I suffered, but I never forgot where I came from. I came back the moment I heard he died, but it was too late." Clarence had already sold everything. He paused. "This isn't about money. It's about respect. It's about doing what's right." Some of the younger villagers clapped softly. Clarence looked angry now. "Don't let him fool you," Clarence snapped. "He's here for revenge, not justice." Suddenly Marlon, one of the cousins, stood up. "Uncle Clarence, I have to say something." Clarence frowned. "Sit down, boy." "No," Marlon said. "I saw the papers the day they were signed. You told the man from the company that our father had agreed. But I remember, I asked you if Jordan knew, and you said it wasn't his business. You lied." Clarence's face went red. "You don't know what you're saying." Another cousin, Angela, stood. "I was there too. You told me not to mention anything to Jordan when he called after the burial." Now the room buzzed. The elders looked at each other. Baba Nuru stood again. "Enough," he looked at Clarence. "This matter is more serious than we thought. We will pause this meeting and continue tomorrow. There may be legal consequences." Clarence stormed out, pushing past people. Some villagers followed, whispering. Jordan stood still, overwhelmed. Later that night, Jordan walked home alone. His mind was heavy. He wasn't sure what would happen next, but at least the truth was finally coming out. The next day, he found his Aunt Lisa at the family compound. She was sitting on the front steps, crying softly. He sat next to her. "Are you okay?" She wiped her tears. "Your uncle, he's angry. He says you're destroying the family name." Jordan sighed. "I don't want to destroy anything, I just want justice." Lisa looked at him. "You're brave. Your father would be proud. But this will not end easily. Clarence has friends, power. He won't go down quietly." "I know," Jordan said. "But I'm not stopping." That evening, someone threw a rock at Jordan's window. It broke the glass and landed on his bed. A note was tied to it. "Leave this village, or you'll regret it." Jordan stared at it for a long time. Then he folded it, placed it in his drawer, and sat down. He wasn't going anywhere. People were beginning to choose sides. Some feared Clarence and stayed quiet. Others started greeting Jordan with respect. One old man even gave him a gift of yam, saying, "You remind me of your father." He fought for what was right too. But tension was rising. No one knew what would H. The final meeting was held in the open village square. A large canopy was set up to block the sun, but the air was still thick and hot. Everyone came, elders, young people, even children who sat on the ground. The whole village was there. This time, no one wanted to miss what was going to happen. Jordan arrived early. He wore the same clothes as before, simple and clean. He held the same folder in his hands, but this time he had added something new, something important, something he hadn't shared yet. Clarence came later, walking slowly, looking calm but angry. His clothes were neat. His face was unreadable. He didn't greet anyone. He just sat down. Baba Nuru raised his staff and stood in the middle. "We are here again, not to fight, but to finish what we started. The truth is still not clear, and the land is still in question. Let today bring answers." Jordan stood up. "Thank you, Baba. Before I speak, I want someone else to talk. Someone who was part of the land sale." The crowd murmured in confusion. Jordan turned to a man sitting quietly in the back. "Mr. Benson, please." The man stood. He wore a dusty brown shirt and looked nervous. He was the former local officer who handled land approvals before he was replaced. He walked forward, cleared his throat, and looked around. "My name is Benson Akande. I was the land officer in this area 2 years ago. I'm the one who signed the approval for the land Clarence sold." Clarence stood quickly. "Why is he here? He has nothing to do with this." Baba Nuru raised a hand. "Let him speak." Benson nodded. "I came today because I was wrong. I approved the sale without asking the right questions. Clarence told me the land had no rightful heir. He said the son lived far away and didn't care. He gave me some money to move things faster." Gasps filled the air. "I needed the money," Benson continued, "but I knew it wasn't right. I've been living with guilt since then, and now I want to tell the truth." Clarence shouted, "Lies! He's making this up." But more villagers were already turning to look at Clarence with doubt and anger. Jordan stepped forward again. "I have one more thing. My father never wrote a will, but he did leave something behind. Something I didn't find until last night." He pulled out a small recorder and pressed play. Samuel Carter's voice came through, slow, weak, but clear. "If anything happens to me, and I can't speak for myself, let it be known that my land is for my son, Jordan. He may not be here now, but I trust him. Clarence is not to touch the land. He knows why." The entire square went silent, then whispers, then voices rising. Clarence's face turned pale. He tried to speak, but the words wouldn't come. His hands shook. An elder stood. "Clarence, is this true?" Clarence didn't answer. Instead, he turned and began to walk away. "You don't get to walk away now," Jordan said loudly. "You lied to this whole village. You used your own brother's death to fill your pockets." Clarence spun around. "And where were you? You left him. You ran off to the city and forgot him." "I didn't forget him," Jordan said. "I just believed he was safe, with family. I trusted you." The pain in his voice was clear. Clarence looked around and saw the villagers staring. Not one of them looked at him with respect now. "I was the only one left," he said softly, "and I was tired of being poor." Baba Nuru turned to the elders. They whispered among themselves. After a moment, he stood again. "This council cannot give the land back. That must be handled by the court. But we can say this. Clarence Carter acted in greed and broke the trust of this community." He faced Jordan. "We support your right to seek justice, and we ask the court to freeze the sale until the matter is decided." The crowd clapped. Some cheered. Others sat in stunned silence. Clarence lowered his head. His power was broken. Jordan looked at the land beyond the village. For the first time in weeks, he felt a little peace. The fight was not over, but the truth had been heard. As the crowd began to leave, people came to shake Jordan's hand, even the same elders who once ignored him. "You brought honor back to your father's name," one of them said. Amira stood beside him, quiet and proud. Jordan looked at her. "It's not just about land anymore, is it?" She smiled. "It never was." After the meeting, the village began to feel different. People no longer looked away when they saw Jordan. They stopped him on the road, shook his hand, gave him food, and said kind words about his father. The shame and silence that once filled the air were slowly disappearing. The village court responded quickly. Based on the new evidence, the recording, the witness, and the lack of a will, they decided to freeze the land deal. The construction company had to stop all work until the matter was fully settled in state court. Jordan smiled when he saw the heavy machines leaving the land. The red sign that once read, "Luxury villas coming soon," was taken down. Clarence didn't show his face in public anymore. Some said he left the village for the city. Others said he stayed inside, too ashamed to come out. His power was gone, and the people who once stood by him were quiet now. No one wanted to be part of his lies anymore. Jordan visited his father's grave with Amira. He brought fresh flowers and placed the small recorder beside the headstone. "You said to protect the land," he whispered. "I didn't come in time, but I came, and I did what I could." He stayed silent for a moment, feeling the wind move through the trees. Amira stood beside him. "Your father would be proud." Jordan turned to her. "I'm staying." She looked surprised. "Here?" "Yes," he said. "Not forever, maybe, but for now. I want to help rebuild what's been broken, not just the land, the trust." In the weeks that followed, Jordan started a small community group. He met with other young people in the village to talk about land rights, how to protect family property, and how to keep greedy hands away. With Amira's help, they brought in speakers, made posters, and helped older villagers understand their legal rights. He also began to repair his father's house, slowly, one window at a time, one step at a time. It wasn't just about fixing wood and walls, it was about fixing himself too. Each nail he hammered felt like healing. One evening, Marlon came to visit. He stood awkwardly at the gate, holding a bag of yams. "I came to say sorry," he said, "for not speaking up sooner." Jordan took the bag. "You did what you could. Thank you for finally telling the truth." They sat outside and talked for hours, about their fathers, about their childhoods, about what went wrong. There were still court hearings to attend. The final decision on the land could take months, but Jordan wasn't afraid anymore. He had the village behind him. He had truth on his side, and he had peace. He sat on the porch one evening, watching children run past, laughing and playing. The sky turned orange with sunset, and the air smelled like roasted corn. Amira joined him, holding 2 cups of tea. "You look happy," she said. "I think I am," he replied. "Even after everything?" "Because of everything," he said. "I lost something, yes, but I found something too." She looked at him. "What did you find?" He smiled. "Myself." A few months later, the final court ruling came in. The land officially returned to Jordan. The judge said the sale was dishonest and based on false information. Clarence was ordered to pay a fine and was banned from handling land matters for 5 years. Jordan stood in the field the next morning, alone. The soil was quiet. The air was fresh. He bent down, picked up a handful of earth, and let it run through his fingers. It felt different now, not just like land, but like a promise kept. He walked the edges of the farm, remembering where each crop used to grow, the cassava patch, the yam rows. His father had walked this same path 100 times. Now, it was his turn. At the far corner of the land, Jordan placed a small wooden sign in the ground. It had 3 words painted in black: Samuel's Gift Farm. He stepped back and looked at it for a long time. Then he smiled. Later that evening, he sat outside his home, watching the sun go down. Amira brought him a small notebook. "I found this," she said. "It's your father's. He used to write in it." Jordan opened it slowly. On the first page, in simple handwriting, were the words, "If you ever doubt who you are, remember where you come from." He closed the book and held it to his chest. There was no music, no cheering, just quiet. But in that quiet, there was peace. Jordan had come back not just to fight for land, but to heal. He lost time, he lost trust, but he had also rebuilt something: his name, his purpose, his family, and this time, he wasn't going anywhere.